Hello YouTubers and welcome aboard. I am Noob Flyboy X and welcome back to F1 2018 Career Mode. We're going to jump on board straight away here for a lap of the Brazilian Grand Prix circuit, which is of course the track we are at for round 20. Straight away into the first complex of corners here, known as the Senna S's, named of course for famed Brazilian driver Ayrton Senna, who won at this track while stuck in, I believe it was 5th gear. Coming down a very long straightaway here into the next complex. We have a fairly high-speed set of left-handers here coming toward the middle sector now. Running a little bit wide onto the grass, but we're still doing well enough that we're able to keep it on the racing line for this section here. Coming now into another set of double right-hand corners and now back to the left. The middle sector here is very tight and windy, making it very slow, especially in the intermediate wet weather conditions that we have at the end of Free Practice 3. Coming now toward the end of the middle sector. Very tricky through here as that corner is somewhat off camber, short straightaway here, and one final left-hander as we get onto what is essentially the back straightaway, but there is a very long curve through most of it here. That last corner, of course, where Timo Glock managed to get past Lewis Hamilton and allowed him to take the championship in 2008. And there we are across the line after that straightaway. We're going to jump on board straight away now into qualifying. Fortunately, the weather has improved, so we're in dry weather running, so we are doing much better. First run in Q1 was good, but we got dropped down quite a ways as other drivers improved. Second run in Q1 and we improved back to 5th position, which easily gets us into Q2. Now in Q2 we set our first lap there, and it's good enough for P2 at the time. I think I can do better though. I feel like I can improve, so I'm going to go for another run here. Already up a little bit as we head through the Senna S's once more and back onto the long straightaway. One of the Force Indias is coming out of the pit lane next to us, running a little wide as we get distracted. Still a little bit distracted, and I think it's actually, never mind, it was one of the Renaults. But there we go, we run a little bit too narrow onto the grass, and we've collided with the wall and taken off our front tire. And of course, remember my old rule is that I cannot undo major crashes like that. I've taken out the Renault as well for good measure, though I think it wasn't terminal damage for him. But that is us out in Q2, it looks like. The time we set was good enough to get us into Q3, but with the destroyed car, we're going to have to wait to get back on track until the race itself.
Where there's a will, well, there's a way. And nowhere has that fact been better demonstrated over the years than here at Interlagos. Remember Senna winning while fighting a gearbox that was jammed in 6th? 5 Drivers' Championship deciders in a row between 2005 and 2009. And of course, the passionate Brazilian fans packing the grandstands to capacity every year. And they're not about to stop now. Well then, after an exciting qualifying session yesterday, let's take a look at how the cars line up. Good job yesterday from Valtteri Bottas. The Finn starts from pole position, with Sebastian Vettel starting alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Hamilton, Ricciardo, Sergio Perez, and Sainz, Hulkenberg, Iceman, Van Dorn, and Kimi Räikkönen. Magnussen, Grosjean, Max Verstappen. They've taken a grid penalty, and Leclerc. Stroll, Gasly, Fernando Alonso, and Brendan Hartley, Ericsson, and Esteban Ocon rounds off the grid. Now it's almost time to lights out, so let's go down to the track.
You should have some space going into the first corner, so try to keep it tidy.
Thanks for the advice, Jeff. Well, no reason to fiddle with strategy today. We're going for the 2-stopper. Some cars ahead of us might be going for a 1-stop, but we are far enough up the field, having been promoted for some penalties, that I think we're in good stead here as the lights go out. We're alongside Hulkenberg, and Stoffel Van Dorn is trying to come up our outside here into the first corner. Brake nice and hard. Look up the inside of Hulkenberg there. He squeezes us onto the grass a little bit. I try to give, looks like Kimi Räikkönen and maybe Van Dorn as well, going around the outside there. I try to give them a bit more room. Onto the straightaway, Räikkönen's already caught the McLaren of Van Dorn and is looking to make his way up through the field. The championship is, of course, over for the teams, Mercedes having secured that last time out, but Räikkönen is still looking aggressive and looking to get points for the team. I believe he's actually lead driver at Ferrari at the moment, so he's going to try to, make his way through the field and secure that spot over his teammate Sebastian Vettel, who is currently in second. Meanwhile, we're scrapping away, trying to look for a way past Nico Hülkenberg, getting very close up to the back of him. He looks like he's just stuck a little bit behind the Force India of Sergio Perez, and perhaps who is stuck behind the other Renault of Carlos Sainz. Here we come up into the back straightaway here. There we go. We kind of muscled our way past Hülkenberg there in the Renault, but onto the back straightaway now. We've gained a position on him, so we'll be looking to move forward up past Sergio Perez next. On the front straightaway here, still got some good pace, so Hülkenberg in our slipstream looking to close in. He's not quite close enough to make it work though. I will be able, fortunately now though that Hülkenberg is behind me, I've got someone to hold off Raikkonen for a little bit longer, which should allow me to move up the field a little bit, or at least allow me some more time to catch Perez. Unfortunately, it only buys me about 1 or 2 laps because Raikkonen is already on my tail, even as I look for a way up the outside and then the inside of Sergio Perez. He's still stuck behind Carlos Sainz. They're scrapping away, slowing each other down, but not enough for me to make a move just yet. And here comes Kimi Raikkonen charging up my inside. It doesn't look like he's quite close enough to make a move on me yet, but the squabbling of the Force India and the Renault allows me to look up the outside very aggressively on Perez. But unfortunately, he's got just enough pace to keep the inside line and make it work for him. A little later on lap 5, though, Raikkonen's got the straight line speed, and there's nothing much I can do this time. Even as the two continue to fight up ahead, Raikkonen's still there on my inside, and he's got better acceleration out of that corner. So I'll be leaving him to go on and deal with Perez and Sainz. Hopefully in passing them, he'll slow them up as they continue to fight, and add Raikkonen into the mix should slow them up even more. Finally, by lap 9, again, it's been taking us a while to get going in the early stages, but on lap 9, it's finally time to make a move on Sainz, who's actually been passed by Perez finally. But DRS open up the front straightaway into the first corner. Good passing opportunity here up the inside. We get very close, and there's a bit of bumping wheels as Sainz tries to force us onto the grass just like his teammate did. But we make our way through, and we're looking now to attack the Pink Panther ahead of us. Sainz still right behind me in my slipstream. He may have DRS, I can't remember. A couple laps though, after that it's time to start fighting with these guys and come in and get some new rubber. The tires do wear out fairly quickly around here. There's enough high-speed corners and even the medium-speed corners to wear out the super soft tires that I was on pretty quickly. So it might actually be a benefit that I'm on a 2-stop strategy, because I won't have to worry so much about the tires wearing out, unlike the 1-stop runners who will be going softs to mediums. Rejoin here on lap 11. We're a little ways behind some people, but it's not long before we catch them. Esteban Ocon and Marcus Ericsson in particular, we catch them by the end of that same lap we had just come out on. We're able to get DRS on them when they don't have the same straight line speed apparently as those other cars that I've already passed. So it's easily up the inside of Esteban Ocon, and now we're looking to catch Marcus Ericsson. We should be able to do that on the straightaway here. Going a little bit narrow, so we could have held more speed through there if we tried, but now Ericsson, he's looking for a way past the two squabbling, in fact, Toro Rossos ahead of us. That slowed him up, and we dive right around the outside. He's still there, but he doesn't have the same acceleration that the Ferrari of Kimi Raikkonen did, so we're able to make that move work on him. And now it's just the two Toro Rossos ahead of us that we're looking to pass. Those two have been fighting. They'll be slowing each other down, so we just need to be patient. In fact, we only need to be patient until 2 laps later on lap 13 now. We've already passed Brendan Hartley. Ocon has as well. He's followed us through. Now we make a move on Pierre Gasly on the front straightaway. Very nice opportunity here. Dive back into the first corner, and let's continue on. We've actually gotten back up into the points by lap 16. The two McLarens just ahead of us, Fernando Alonso and Stoffel Van Dorn, as we head into the end of the middle sector. We also find that Lewis Hamilton is out of the race. He's pulled over to the side of the road just there. There he is against the fence over there. Up next, we'll be trying to attack Alonso and Van Dorn. But actually, Alonso's not going to give us the opportunity, because moments later he dives into the pits, leaving Van Dorn on his own against us. He's not going to have his World Championship teammate to try to hold us off. so we immediately look for a way up the inside, or around the outside rather, into the Senna S's, but we can't quite do it. We can't quite hold the speed through there. We do, however, still have the DRS and the more powerful engine, so the straightaway is going to be the greatest place for us to pass. There we go. He defends the inside, but I dive further to the inside than he wanted to defend, and we make up that place, so we are up to 5th, which is a very nice place. It's one place higher than our strategies have been getting us in the past couple races. Now on lap 19, it'll be time for our second pit stop already. This Grand Prix is going by very quickly, and I do have a bit of a confession to make. That may be because I was slightly stoned while I was doing this race. Only slightly though, so no need to worry about anything. Continuing on now on lap 20, it's been a fairly quiet race for quite a while. We've come out after our second pit stop in a bit of a gap. There's a few cars ahead of us that will need to make another stop, so we'll just need to wait for them to make their stops for our strategy to work. On lap 23, we pass a couple of them. That was, I believe, Sainz and Magnussen, or Sainz and Grosjean rather, in the pits. End of lap 23, start of lap 24. This time it's Hulkenberg, and we also get Max Verstappen, and we are up to 6th place that way. A little ways on in the race, just found a cool shot here. There goes the Red Bull past, and me in the background. There's Verstappen and the other Red Bull going through. On lap 30, though, all the way up to lap 30, it's been quiet enough. Only now is Verstappen starting to catch us, but I see on the mini-map there's a yellow flag in Sector 1. I can see a couple cars stopped. Looks like there's been some kind of incident up there. I want to get there as soon as I can to see, because incidents like this usually are kind of fun to look at, but looks like the cars are going to certainly try to get going before I get there. We are also going to have to defend from Max Verstappen, who is coming in very aggressively behind us. We run a little wide into the first corner for good measure, and he's right there to try to take advantage. Again, after the revenge I got at Singapore, I really don't have that much of a grudge against Verstappen anymore by this point in the season. I'm just going to hold my line here. He wants to go up the inside. I'm going to brake a little later. Apparently one of the cars involved in the crash, as we see some front wing out there, is Verstappen's teammate Daniel Ricciardo. He's out of the race because of some incident. We'll have to see if it relates to the crash. Here's the inciting incident for the crash. It is Fernando Alonso actually making contact with Romain Grosjean, and Grosjean winding up sideways. A couple other cars managing to get through relatively unscathed, but some other cars, including the two Toro Rossos from earlier, continuing their squabble and dragging, I think, one of the one of the Haas's and one of the Saubers into it. There goes Sebastian Vettel through, as well as one of the two Mercedes and my teammate go through. The other cars are just stopped, and there's Ricciardo and Kimi, both having some crashes, but it looks like Ricciardo's was actually terminal to him. He's lost his front wheel in that exchange. At pretty much the same time, actually rather, here is his perspective. He comes in, and he just doesn't slow down enough to get between the Toro Rossos and continue onward. We've actually lost the place, though, to Max Verstappen as we go through there. So it looks like we are down now to 6th. Ricciardo was ahead of us, so we would have been up to 5th if we just had him go out of the race. But we are down to 6th at the moment because of the of Verstappen passing us. On the final lap, though, not a whole lot else happened. My distraction continued, and I went a little narrow onto the grass there, sliding across, but no real harm done. 6th place in the Brazilian Grand Prix.
Nice work, you did well today. I think the boss will be happy with that one.
So, here they come now, out onto the podium. Wherever you go, anywhere in the world, the prancing horse flags are dominant in the grandstands, and they're out in force again today. It's Ferrari on the top step once more.
Sebastian Vettel keeps his championship alive, scoring a much-needed win ahead of Valtteri Bottas, who comes home second, and his teammate Kimi Räikkönen in third, getting good points for Ferrari. But, of course, the Mercedes have already sealed the championship as of the previous race. But Vettel is able to continue on with a fighting chance as we head toward the final race of the first season. That'll be coming up soon, YouTubers, don't you worry. I don't intend to leave you hanging for long on that one. But for us, 6th place finish, pretty good. We've just about secured our spot in the Drivers' Championship and the Constructors. There aren't a whole lot of bizarre finishes that could account for us dropping or gaining any places. So we're pretty secure where we are. Just going to have to see what sort of upgrades we can get, because we have one cooking for Abu Dhabi that I'm hoping will add a little bit of pace to the car, potentially help our teammate get further up the field. This race, though, is history. Thank you very much for watching this episode, and as always, have a nice day.